Hey, hey, hey.
Really?
No, you don't like that intro? No? It's not close to your intro. Hello, world.
Hello, hello, hello.
It's all versions of saying hi. What's the problem?
Stay in your lane.
Listen, it's getting stale, everything I'm saying. I'm pretty sure the audience is tired of red leather, yellow leather, okay? And 1, 2, 3, like they said. They probably waiting for me to hear 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So
Look, you can't count to 10.
I can. If I put my mind to it, I can, girl. I can. Well, that's Ms. Glam, and you got your girl Mohazel, and we are badass besties. So, yay. No yay. Why are you quiet today?
I'm quiet.
You are
I
so
was
quiet.
quiet for 2 seconds.
Okay, that's fine. And today we have a special guest in the building. It's someone that I've known since college, and her name is Victoria Danielle, and she is an abundant life coach. How are you doing, love?
I'm doing amazing. I am great. Thank you for having me. So happy to be here. So how are you? How's Ms. Glam? How are you guys doing?
We're doing wonderful. What about you, Ms. Glam? What are you doing?
It's almost the weekend.
She's so happy. Well, we appreciate you being on the show. And Victoria Danielle, can you tell us a little bit about your ministry, what all that you do?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I am an abundant life coach. And the reason why I say abundant life coach is because a lot of what I believe in and how I coach is really rooted and grounded in my faith. And so we believe that he came to not just only give us life, but to have an abundant life. And so I'm here to remind women of that. And I help guide them from essentially, I like to always ask them, do you consider yourself your own worst critic or your biggest cheerleader? And so I take them from the progression of worst and best critic for themselves to being their own and biggest and best cheerleader. And I do it a very holistic approach. We work on mindset. We work on their mental health. We work on finances. It's a very holistic approach. We even talk about relationships so that they can indeed have that abundant life. And so that's what I do. And I do it with a lot of laughing. I give tough love, but they know I love them. And I also tell them to allow themselves a whole bunch of grace.
You hear that, Miss Glam? Tough love. I like that. I like you. Just so you know. I know, but oh my gosh, I love you even more when you say things like tough love. I love your whole purpose, and we're so honored to have you on the show, for real.
Thank you.
No problem.
It is my pleasure, and I'm so very honored to be here.
Yay! And we hear that you're going to participate in Weekly Delight.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes, honey. Yes.
Miss Glam, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Miss Victoria Danielle, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so Weekly Delight is where we take a person, place, a thing, an inspirational quote. It can be some food. It can be some mimosa. It can be an inspirational book, just anything that is keeping us pumped and getting us to the weekend. And with that being said, we're going to have guests first. So, Miss Victoria Danielle, honor's yours.
All right. So my weekly delight are my clients. Like, my clients are bomb. So it's getting me through because I'm planning this event that's coming up. This is kind of my first face-to-face launch event. And what's helping me through and letting me know that I'm on the right path are when they send me personal messages and they're like, oh, I've gotten much more clarity than I've ever had before. And then they're sending me, DMs like, oh my gosh, this masterclass that you did was the best thing ever. For me, that's my weekly delight. That's what gives me joy. That's what keeps me pumped. That's why I'm like, this is what I do. It's not for me. Would I like to make a profit from this? Yes, of course, it's a business. But at the end of the day, it's for me to serve them. And so to get me through this, to keep me going, it's them. It's my clients because they're just so amazing.
That's awesome. So can I ask you a quick question? How long have you been doing this, and what inspired you to get into this ministry?
Okay, so we've been through a little windy road here. So as far as getting here to where I am, as far as starting off my career, right after graduating college, I started off as a teacher, high school teacher, did it for 5 years, loved it, amazing. Stepped away thinking I was just going to go become a principal. So I was doing my graduate program, and while away, I was like, whoa, I don't feel that tug to go back. And so in the process of me being out of the classroom, I then found my way in an investing firm, right? And I worked my way up that investment firm, and then I was able to begin giving investment advice and sales to those in the 250,000 and little over range. And I was the only Black woman there and very few women. And so that experience kind of really pushed me out the nest to really, really, really be thinking about, okay, well, what is my real purpose? And then there was a big move from Jacksonville to Durham, North Carolina. And right before we moved, I had this big moment, this day where I was just overwhelmed with emotions. And I was like, I cannot go to North Carolina the same way I'm leaving Jacksonville. I would say almost a year, there was this full trying to figure it out, uncover what it is that I'm supposed to do, looking at the skill set that I already have, the gifts that I had. And it started off thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm going to do like a membership for working moms. And then that kind of maneuvered to, I get really passionate about Black people. So I should maybe look into the whole diversity world. In fact, if you look in my LinkedIn, you will see it's still set up that way for
That's
me
what's
to be
up.
a diversity consultant. But as I began to talk through people and network my way on that end, I realized I really had a passion, not so much for the companies who might be doing the hurting and trying to help them fix that, but more so the people who were hurting. And so as I began to reach out to those that I felt were in my audience and I wanted to reach and, did questioning and interviews with them, I realized, okay, you are who I want to work with. And then let me figure out how I want to support you. And then as I'm going through that road and that windy road, it just became clearer and clearer and clearer as you go, which is why I tell people you're not going to know all the answers. Just go out there and just start doing it and start asking the questions. Who you want to serve, start with them. And then it will get clearer and clearer. And so that's how I got to where I am today.
I love it.
In being this abundant life coach. And what's funny is I've always done this. If you ask my friends, those who are close to me, they will tell you that I'm always that one asking them about what are you doing and how do you plan to get there and trying to push them towards their purpose. So I've been doing this all along, and it's just like, whoa, now I get to really do this for real and for life and as my life's work. So
yeah, you've always been a sweet young lady on campus, and I definitely can attest to you being so helpful to your friends and being so mature for your age. And yeah, I do remember those days where you were just, one, you were just always a sweet person, but two, I can definitely see where you're saying like you've always had that on your heart. I can definitely tell that you were a caring person and a helpful person even back then, for sure.
Oh, well, I'm glad you saw that side of me.
You like, could you have told me back then so I didn't have to go through all that? No, I know. That's all right. That's all right.
I'm glad you saw the sweet side.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now, with that being said, let's move on to Ms. Glam. Ms. Glam, what is your weekly delight, my dear?
So I'm going to educate you on a little something today.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
So my weekly delight.
There went the sweet Victoria Danielle. No, it's
My weekly delight. Rosa Parks did yoga.
Oh my gosh. Yay.
So there was a picture in the Library of Congress. It was circulated on one of the yoga groups that I'm on social media.
Sure.
It just gave me life. Rosa Parks did yoga. Don't talk about me and my yoga no more. No, Rosa Parks did yoga.
Whoa, wait, hang on now. So many questions.
She just validated my whole life.
What pose was she in? Did she have an iconic pose in this picture that you saw?
I think she was in either Cobra, I think. I'm not sure, but
okay.
I don't care.
We're going to post
doing
the picture,
yoga.
right?
Yes,
you
we're going to post the
picture.
picture. Yes.
Okay. So we'll post the picture, but yay. Wait, did she look younger or older in this picture?
So my understanding from what I read, because of course I went down that rabbit hole, is later in life, she got interested in yoga and became a vegetarian and just being, more natural and holistic for her health.
Sure.
And yoga was one of the things that she picked up.
Okay.
And so, there was actually even notes of her taking notes for, yoga poses and things like that. It was so interesting.
I did not know that.
Wow.
That's deep. Okay. I like that. Okay. Look
I
at
do
you.
too. That's cool.
That's cool. So for my weekly delight, I had an auntie pass away last year that was
Mm.
really dear to my heart. I started missing her food, and I started having regrets like, dang, why wasn't I a better niece and like sit in the kitchen with her and like really study the art of her food? And now don't get me wrong, when I was little, she would have me in there snapping peas and, cutting greens and all that, but she would have me prep, but she wouldn't have me cook. She did. One time, my dad wanted his mother's pound cake. My mom had the recipe, but there was little steps, when you're from the country, they don't quite measure. It's just, you need to add this, this, and this. So my aunt did kind of help me with that cake, and it really warmed my heart. And then she passed away, and I was missing her rice Perlo so bad, and I just told my parents around the holidays, I was like, listen, you ain't got to do it if you don't want to, but in 2020, can somebody make her rice Perlo? And if it's good, teach me how to make it, because I feel like I missed out on it. And I didn't really think my mom would do it that soon, but my mom made it, and I tasted it, and it tasted so good and really, really like on the money to my aunt's recipe. So I was really grateful, and it warmed my heart. Now, have I asked her how to do this? No. Now the petty in me says, I know somebody know how to make it. That's sad. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on me, but that's all right. But at least I know someone has it so the tradition can go on. I just need to make sure I have it. It's just not today, not this month, because I know she can make it. So we're going to have her do it 2 more times to make sure she got it. And then I'm going to learn it. I hope. Yeah, we're going to try that.
So more than likely, tech support will be learning this recipe.
Girl, hey, tech.
Let's just go ahead and put that out there.
12 easy steps.
Mohazel don't cook.
I don't. I mean, I do for Thanksgiving.
No, she don't cook.
But I'm inspired to want to do it. So I'm hoping. I'm getting my joy right now that the recipe's still around. So we'll take it
Tech
one
support.
step at a time. Yeah.
Are you going to learn how to cook it?
He's giving this look, Victoria Danielle. That he's like, nope, not having it. Do you taste it? It tasted pretty much like it though, right? He said, it's okay.
I don't eat
no,
meat.
thumbs up? Okay. He said thumbs
I don't
up.
eat meat, so I couldn't try it.
Okay.
She did stuff her face in front of me unapologetically. She did offer me some and then went, oh, right, you don't eat meat. And then continued to make her plate, eat it, and not care if I had eaten or not.
Now, for the record, while she throws me under the bus like that, while that is accurate, 100%.
Thank you.
The story is not edited. It was 100% true. I only act ignorant for my auntie's food. That's, you know what I mean? If it was, spaghetti I had made, I would have been like,
that's
hey, Ms.Glam, would you like a bowl?
When Nana sends your tamales, you do act ignorant about that too.
Okay, again, excuse me. To be clear, any family recipes, absolutely. I'm a fight you. That was made for me. I don't share family recipes. That's to remain in the family. That's how I feel. No, I'm just playing. But
and y'all wonder why I'm so tiny. She starves me.
Yeah, I do. I starve her. I eat everything. Well, again, Victoria Danielle, thank you for being on the show. And guess what? You are super special because you are our first Skyped interview. I meant to tell that earlier. You're our first Skyped interview. So tell us a little bit before we get into it really fast. Where are you at right now? What is your scene look like? Because right now we're in the lab, my London lab, our podcast war room. Where are you, Miss Victoria Danielle?
Well, before I jump into that, I do have to say, and I have to toot my own horn, I guess I'm the Rosa Parks for Badass Besties.
Yes! I love it.
So I just want to say, everybody, please understand I'm the Rosa Parks of Badass Besties.
That's right. And when we put you on when we do the captions for your title, that will be our badass title for you. Yes, for sure. 100%.
Okay, so you asked me where I am. So I am actually in the beautiful spa of Makeup Craze Beauty. It is in Jacksonville, Florida, right off of Main Street. And it is owned and operated by Danielle Brown. And I'm here because she is co-hosting the vision board party that we are having this upcoming Sunday. And I am in her studio where she has estheticians, makeup artists. They do lashes, microblading, all of that. So I'm here with her so that when I'm done with this, we're going to go right back to work.
Man, that's the best location. We need to do locations. Can you at a spa, a fabulous spa? Come on, man. We need to step our game up, Miss Glam. 2020.
I won't
Step
be
our game
talking
up.
to you if I'm in a spa.
I understand. Nothing gonna get done. It'll be silence and happiness. But thank you again. We appreciate you. So, ladies, with that being said, are we ready to get into the topic?
Yes, we are.
Ready.
Awesome. Okay, so the topic today is bold and strong or quietly suffering along. And Miss Glam, you came up with this topic, so you were perusing on one of your favorite sites, exonicole.com, and it had an online article called Issa Rae on making therapy a top priority even when nothing is wrong. And you know I love me some Issa Rae, so you already had me, and I didn't even know what I was about to read. But it was an excellent article where it discussed a recent episode on the podcast called The Read with Kid Fury and Chriselle West. And apparently Issa was on the show and they were talking about mental health. And she was quoted as saying on the podcast, I know y'all get this all the time, but you guys having conversations about therapy and mental health really got me thinking about it, because I don't consider myself troubled necessarily. But being in this industry, there's just a lot that I don't say. There's a lot that I take on. There's a lot that I sweep under the rug that I think is just normal, that you're supposed to do it. She later goes on and talks about what we call Superwoman Syndrome. For those of you out there who don't know Superwoman Syndrome, it's where you take on women particularly, and unfortunately it happens even more so in the Black community, but it's not just set to the Black community. Women of all nationalities actually go through this, to where they have so many characteristics that have them in line, to where they have so many duties, where they're a money earner in the home, they're a mother, they are a supporter of someone, they're a big sister, they're the babysitter, the cook. I mean, they take on all these roles and they don't ever really give themselves rest to just be them. And so she was saying, Issa Rae, that she watched her mother and her grandmother suffer with this Superwoman Syndrome, and she kind of adopted the same mentality just through watching them. And she goes on to say, I think specifically as a Black woman, I watched my mom do it. I watched my grandmother do it. It's just, you take it on and you're just like that. That's life. And you don't want to burden other people with your problems. So those were just some of the excerpts that I got out of the article. I wanted to quote her specifically. Ladies, let's start out with just the simple, do you feel you go through Superwoman Syndrome? Let's just start with that before we go into the actual questions. Victoria Danielle, do you feel like you have or can relate to the Superwoman Syndrome in the article?
Oh, I mean, definitely. One of the things that did stand out was she's saying seeing that in her mother and her grandmother, and that's the same thing that I've seen in my own upbringing. And so that Superwoman thinking I can do it, you're just silently taking it on. Okay, I'm just gonna do it. I gotta do all the things, wear all the hat. That's what makes me a good wife. That's what makes me a good mom. And I had to learn that I had to communicate. Hold up. I can't do all of this. I need help. But I can so definitely relate to that and that mentality. But like her, there's this epiphany, there's this moment of, wait a minute, okay, it doesn't have to be this way. And that's where you're able to move from what you knew and thought was right, and now you're able to make your own path and move forward. But yeah, totally can agree.
What about you, Ms.
Totally
Glam?
can relate.
Yes, totally. But some of it for me is also, I'm the oldest, so it's kind of that expectation too. So that expectation was put on me as the oldest, take care of the youngest or younger.
So they were training you.
Yeah, because as the oldest, I'm responsible for everything the younger ones do, because it's my job to keep them in line. So that upbringing kind of, solidified that you gotta watch, it all and take it all on. And then I think some of it's my personality in terms of, I like the control, because I feel like having that control makes sure that everything goes the way it's supposed to. So that kind of contributes to it as well. But I am pretty good of when I'm done, you know how I am. I shut it down and go in a room and read a book. So I'm pretty good at recognizing when I can't. I'm done. No more people. Bye-bye.
Got it.
What about you?
I definitely feel that. I probably thought I wouldn't feel it because I, am not a mom, and I kind of always associated as what a mom would do. But the older I get, I realize that I don't know if it's me overcompensating for not being a mom and feeling like I have all this time. So I have, I got room to do more and more and more, that it just became natural to just do so much. But somehow I fell into that world of that Superwoman Syndrome. But originally I thought I didn't have it. I thought that it was associated again with motherhoods. I've always watched my mom and my grandmother, just kind of like how Issa was saying, taking on all these roles. But I just thought, when I move out, I'm just going to be easy breezy, carefree. And even when I turned 30, I kept saying to myself, I'm just going to do one thing at a time, the best that I can, minimize, my to-do list. But the older I get, I'm gravitating more back to that, it seems. And so, yeah, very much so. But the stereotype I had was, and what I learned, the aha for me is, it's really any woman can go through it. And really, honestly, any person, but I see it more in women. So I have to side with the Superwoman Syndrome. But the stereotype, it being just a mom, that is not true. It happens to a lot of women in so many realms.
Why do you think, and because I'm curious, because I agree, but why do you think it's more women than men? Because men are pushed to be, the breadwinners, and they're supposed to be the protector and all this stuff. But yet, I agree, more women suffer from this Superwoman Syndrome.
Miss Victoria Danielle, do you want to jump into this first, or do you want me to? And then,
I kind of have my theory on it, and it made me think about what Ms.Glam said earlier, her being the oldest. And for me, I was not the oldest. However, I'm the only girl out of 4. I have 3 brothers. And even when I tell my clients, a lot of times a lot of things that we do, most things that we do, it's not just something that just happens by osmosis. It's a learned behavior.
Right.
And so even though men are pushed to be breadwinners, women are always pushed to be the support. So I can go out and be and conquer, but then there's someone usually that's going to be there, if I'm a man, who's going to support me and do the things so that I can go out and conquer. I don't have to worry about all the minutiae because I can find somebody to support me to do that. Whereas women, because we're pushed to be the supporter and to be the do-all,
right,
we get caught up in that. And it's not just in the homes, it's also affirmed when we're watching movies, in the songs, in the this and the that, we're the Bonnie and the Clyde, we're the ride or the die. So
right.
You don't get those terms with men, it's always affirmed with women.
I like that point, that it's always affirmed with women. I like that point. I agree with that. That seems truthful. I don't know. I just go back to the king of the castle. I mean, I hear the queen of her castle, but I hear more and more the king of his castle. And it's kind of going to what you're saying, Miss Victoria Danielle, where it's, he goes out, he's the provider, but when he comes home, and it's not to say that the woman, and you said it so pretty, just simple as that, the support. But, the men feel like they can come home and, I can rest. It's almost like women, even back to me when you had it before, they had this second shift mentality. The women that were in the home and the homemakers, there was no, let me clean the house and make the house pretty, get the kids to school, get them in bed, and then I get the rest. It's now I got to take care of my man too. And, when we came into this realm of the second shift kind of mentality, it's 2 jobs. The man never changed his job. He still got the one. Like, it just seemed like the title is changed and it gets cuter and we can do everything a man do. No, can they do everything a woman can do? That's what we need to be asking. You know what I mean? Because it seems like the title changes over the decades, but the premise is still there. we never rest.
Yeah.
Right,
And then I
right.
think too that push from, because for the men who do both, meaning they come home and they help and they do take on some of those supportive roles, they're looked down upon, which discourages other men from doing the same thing. Whereas it's an expectation for women.
Right. And almost made feel bad if we don't.
Exactly.
It's
you
like,
ain't a good woman
you're
if you
not a
ain't doing
good woman.
all this.
That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. Well, let me ask the next question, ladies. Victoria Danielle, Miss Victoria Danielle, do you feel like you do a good job prioritizing your mental health? And if yes, what are some of the things you do? And if no, what do you feel you could do better?
I'd say I do a better job.
Okay.
There's always room. I always see there's always going to be room for growth. There's nothing I'm going to do that I'm going to be perfect at. But I'm definitely better than what I used to be. Again, like I said, I can relate to the superwoman, trying to do it all, trying to be the good wife, trying to be the good mom, trying to be the good daughter and the niece and the cousin and the friend. And then you're pouring, and you get to a point and you're like, well, then you get bitter. Well, who's pouring into me, and et cetera, et cetera. And so once I got to that point, I sat my behind on a couch with a therapist. So I am 100% pro therapy. And in that, I realized that I was not setting the boundaries that I should have been setting. I was not allowing the grace that I should have been allowing. And so now, yes, much better than how I used to be. Yes, I communicate a lot better. I hold my boundaries a lot better than I used to. And I also recognize when I get to a certain point, if I'm starting to feel antsy or feel, that feeling of, I'm on edge and I'm snapping, you can, when you're out of
Absolutely.
order. And so when I'm at that place, I'm able to stop myself and think, okay, wait, what have I not done to take care of me? And I'm able to recalibrate and get back on track, take care of me, so then I can just not just be pouring, but I'm always like, I want to pour from my overflow, because I don't need you tapping into my stuff. I need it all for me.
Right. And really quickly, before we move on to Ms. Glam to have you answer next, you mentioned that you went to therapy. So tell us quickly what made you decide to go to therapy, and then what was that aha moment in therapy that said, yes, I need this, more of it.
So the moment I knew I need to go to therapy, it was after I moved to North Carolina. And it was more so because it was like, this is a huge transition. And then I had a moment where it was like, I've been through a bunch of transitions back to back to back. And I don't think I've ever fully processed all of these transitions that literally occurred back to back to back. And so in that realization, it was like, okay, let me go see someone, so that I need somebody to help me unpack all of these transitions and help me process them.
Right.
And when I sat down and I began to unpack, she confirmed, listen, yes, ma'am.
You said, I didn't realize how many bags I had in that trunk. I understand.
It was like, yeah, ma'am, that was a bit much. I was trying to be superwoman. I was trying to do all the things. I was going through one major transition. You go through the transition of going from I'm single, now I'm wife. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm good. And then I made the transition. I talked to you guys about I was a teacher, and then I'm no longer a teacher. I always wanted to be a teacher. And I just always was going to the next thing, and not fully processing the prior thing. So,
got it.
Once I had the transition from Jacksonville to North Carolina, it was like, well, okay, I need to get to a place of transition. Again, like I said earlier, I wanted to move forward, not the same way that I left Jacksonville, Florida. This was it was a place for me to reset. And then the aha moment in therapy, I don't think it was any one thing. It was a series of things. But what I thought was very interesting for me is a lot of my aha moments weren't always while I was there with her. Sometimes it was a question she might have asked me, and I answered it there, not thinking as much about it. And then reviewing in my head later on, and maybe want to dig deeper on my own, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, there might be even more there. And then I can come back next session and dig even deeper. But it was a series of things for me.
Got it.
You know, the takeaways were definitely boundaries, definitely grace, and the communication. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now back to you, Miss Glam. So in regard to, do you feel like you do a good job prioritizing? And if so, let us know. And if not, what can you do better? What are your thoughts on that?
I think I'm on the same wavelength in that you can always do a better job. I'm doing,
Why, Miss Victoria Danielle, and to the people out there, she is like rolling her eyes as she is processing this. Like,
because here's the thing is, and I'll admit, for the most part, if someone else needs me, I'm there. Mental health or, they or not, they become number one because they have a need. But I do find time to do what works for me, or I figured out how to get my self-care when I need it. Meaning, my Kindle's always with me. And it's always with me.
Yeah.
If I need to pull it out and read, I will, and I'll go in my little book world. My yoga, I've started doing that. And with that, meditation. So I'm getting, I'm doing better for me.
Multiple times a day, too.
I do. I have a new app where I'm doing chair yoga at work. I take 5 minutes, 7 minutes with the ending, meditation side. But 7 minutes, I do it maybe 2 times, a day at work, where I'm just taking a break, stretching, and just clearing my mind. And it does help because then I can focus on what I'm doing, and I feel more present and in the moment. Like I'm clearing out, the cobwebs.
Yeah, sure.
Nice.
Sure. I'll say for me, I'm definitely in the same ballpark of working on it. I'm still busy, but you know what I've done? I haven't changed the busyness. I've just picked the projects or picked the duties that I love to do more of. So I stay busy, but I feel like the happiness it's things that I feel either passionate about. I know that I'm going to get my life because I helped that person, or, this was something that's I wanted to do, or something that I know that'll make my family proud or happy. So I just try to do more positive or interests that are selfish to me, but in a good way. Like I know the outcome will be good, but it's selfish for me because I want to do it. I don't care if nobody else want to do it. I'm going to do it. So I try to busy myself with things that I love to do or like to do. So that way, because I don't know how to stop being busy, unfortunately. And I'm married to tech support. And even though he be taking breaks on this job, oh my gosh, he is a very busy man that I have to keep up with. And his mentality is can't stop, won't stop. And it is very much affirmed in our household. And I kind of like that. Like it makes me feel like I have purpose. And so I don't know how to stop, but I'm choosing. I'm being wise at what I say yes to. That's what I'm trying to do. If I'm going to have to say yes, I'm saying yes to things that I like to do. But if I'm going to say no, I don't feel bad about it because I'm probably going to be angry, grudging along anyway. And and kind of like what you were saying, Miss Victoria Danielle, about the boundaries, being okay with saying no, even if it's to somebody that I love or somebody that I care about. I have to say no because it's not good for me.
Yeah. And what I love about it is that it's different for everyone. Even with Ms. Glam, she's like, I'm there for you. I'm good. But like she mentioned, she knows when to shut it down. So for her, that is her boundary. Whereas for me and you, it is maybe more so the saying of the no. But I want people to also realize it's not a one size fits all. Everybody is going to be different. And you have to figure out what it is for you.
Yes.
To make sure that you're taking care of you.
I love that you said that because that is so true.
Yes, it is.
100%. So, okay, the next question that I have, what is the biggest challenge for you in juggling it all and still maintaining your sanity?
So.
Uh-oh. We got the giggles. She said, well, do you got an hour?
So, for me, the biggest challenge is really making sure I do stay on top of my time. Because at the end of the day, it's me being intentional with my time is going to allow me to make sure that I am taking care of me, taking care of the business, taking care of my family, and just really being intentional with my time. And I have to be. So for me, even though I have a business, I also have a child and he's with me. What people may not realize is I have him Monday, Wednesday, Friday. He only goes to school on Tuesday and Thursday.
Oh.
And so I'm doing the things, literally Tuesday, Thursday, and everything within 2 days, and then, nights, and then weekends. But I have to be very careful even with the nights because I still have a whole husband.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And then I also have to be careful with the weekends because I am, building tribe and building community, and they have things on the weekend, and I want family time. So for me, the biggest challenge is making sure I stay on top of my time. I'm again definitely better than I used to be, but that is the thing. I have to be persistent in that.
What about you, Ms. Glam?
Well, I take on a lot. I just continue to take on and just be busy. And then that's my biggest is I tend to be.
You said you're still working on that challenge.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're still working on the challenge. You don't have an answer because you said, I'm here, folks, today to get an answer.
Well, like, I do. I take on a lot and I just say, yes. Ooh, I like it. Yes. And then all the work happens. And then some of it is not only do I say yes to things at a small role, like, yes, I have time for just this. And then, you know how extra I am.
She's so extra.
Then I go, but that's so small. Like, we can do this and this, and I got it. Let me just take control. And then I make it a lot bigger than what it should have been.
Right.
I can relate.
Like, for instance, I'm gonna join the PTSA. Oh, let me raise my hand to be treasurer. Like, why?
Let me join the foundation. Oh,
yes.
Let me help start this foundation. You're doing a lot.
Yes.
But it's good. It's if it makes you feel better, it's positive things that you're doing for sure. I'll say for me, the biggest challenge is I feel torn. I feel like there's two worlds. I have all these tasks that I have to do, or all these hats that I juggle, whether it's personal projects or work. And then I have family, and I feel like they're on this tug of rope. My family's on one end, my family and friends are on one end, and all this other stuff, whether it's work or my passion projects, are on the other end of the rope. I'm like, kind of like what you're saying, trying to divide that time. When I go in so hard one way. So when you see the visual of the tug of rope, it is literally one side fully pulling and clearly about to win. And, to be fair, what I'll do is right before it gets to that, and the winner is, I'll start pulling back and let the other side. And that's how I justify, like, oh, I've gone too far. Let me bring it back. I got to spend time with the fam. Okay, my projects are lacking. Fam bam, y'all gonna have to hold for 2 seconds. Like, that, it's so extreme on what I do to spend time. Like, during the holiday season, I spent so much time with my family, and I put off my passion projects. And now that the new year's here, I'm back on the passion projects, and yeah, I'm not visiting the fam as much. So I don't know how to balance it even in the week. It's just very extreme one end to the other, unfortunately.
I guess I have a question. Am I allowed to ask questions?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, yes.
So, because that really does, I have strong questions about it. So what is it that makes you think that something is wrong with doing the passion, going all in with passion, and then going all in with family, and having the seasons just go in and out? So why is it that it has to be even at all times?
And you know what? And I'll say this. My family doesn't really make me feel guilty about it, or they do as best as they can. They understand what I'm doing. Like, I keep them in the loop when I'm fully in my passion projects. And a lot of times they come and I make them volunteers in my passion projects so I can, one, family gonna do you good to help. And then two, they see me, even if they see me run around like a little nut. I feel guilty because while they won't make me feel guilty, I'm missing out on life moments. I'm missing out on, some important thing in my niece's life, or some important thing in my mom's world, or, I really need to do this for tech support. I miss out on that when I fully commit and I don't shut it off. And then, when I start to feel guilty about it, I'm like, all right, I done missed, 3 or 4 things, and it's time to, step back and scale back. And then I really just kind of put a little dust on the projects to make sure that I'm fully in and committed to letting and making sure my family know that I might have missed this and this over here, but I'm here now. What do you need? Now, I will say I'm really good with the back call. If it's like emergent, I will drop shop and I'll do it. They know that they can rely on me on that. And even if I'm in a different state, it's like, hang on, let me call somebody and I'll make sure that they're good. I'm good with that. But when it comes to, it could be just little simple things like, hey, this is my first on this and I might miss out on it. And then I feel guilty, not necessarily them, but it's just me. Yeah.
I would challenge you to just ask them like, hey, what is it that you get when you see me working in my passions? Because that might actually help relieve some of that guilt. Yeah. Like you said, it's you, it's not them. And then because they're getting something out of it and you don't even realize it. They're getting something out of seeing you live your dreams out. They're like, whoa, that's my daughter. That's my niece. That's, that's my aunt. And so that allows them, when you shine bright, that gives them permission to do the same. So I challenge you to ask them, like, what is it you get when you see me do my thing?
You know what? You remember how you like Dr. Deborah when she came on and you had like got your life? I feel like Miss Victoria Danielle just helped me get mine. Oh my goodness. I appreciate that. I received that. I wholeheartedly received that.
Yeah.
Now I know we're pressed for time, so I'm going to make this last question, the moral. So the question is, any advice for those out there listening who feel that they have to do it all and don't feel they can break from their own mental health? And so, of course, we'll start with you, Miss Victoria Danielle.
For me, it's simple. It's like what they always say when you're on that airplane. Before you can give anybody else air, give yourself some air. And so if you say you really love these people and you really want to be there for them, you have to be the one to pour into yourself so that you can be your best self for them. That's it.
Straight and to the point. All right, Miss Glam.
I'm going to have to co-sign.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. Listen, you know what we do? Listen, we are so like, if there's a good, this is a kudo and compliment to you, Miss Victoria Danielle. When we have a really good speaker, you know what our answer is?
Cosign.
Cosign or ditto. So we're going to say ditto to that and cosign. We wholeheartedly agree. Put that oxygen first. It is okay to not feel guilty about that. I think you said it beautifully and you gave it beautifully with a visual for people to remember. It's simple, but people forget. People forget because they're in that superhero mode. And, at the end of the day, we don't know what goes on in Superman world when he go home and he's just Clark Kent. We don't know. We don't know if he's depressed on the couch.
That's true.
We don't know what goes on with Wonder Woman. So, why are we striving to, always be this bigger than and not realize that it's okay to be simple too? You know what I mean? So,
and like for me, I'll be honest, my niece is my gauge because in terms of moods and things like that, she knows my moods. Like her behavior, like if I've been in a bad mood for a while, like her behavior changes in terms of her tiptoeing around the house of, well, let me, clean up my room. Auntie, I've cleaned up my room. Like that's why you clean up your room? Why you being good? Like not that she's not being good, but like why you being extra good? Like you doing extra stuff. What have I been doing? Have I yelling like all week or something? Like that, she's part of my gauge. And she'll come talk to me like, are you just not having a good day? So she's my gauge. And like kids are honest. They don't know how else to be. So for me, looking at her through how she sees me is eye-opening. So eye-opening.
Gotcha. All right. Well, now, okay. So Miss Victoria Danielle, it was an immense pleasure having you on the show. 100%.
Same here.
And I want you to take this time to tell our audience out there now, disclaimer, we probably got like 6 people listening, but I feel passionate that all 6 listeners want to, rock with you, but tell people out there, where can they find you? on social media, and then also remind us again one more time about your event that's going on.
Yeah, so first of all, your 6 are bomb, and we're about to get a few more.
Thank you.
So, we love you, 6.
Strong 6. Hold on, 6.
But as far as where you can find me on Instagram, and my handle is at the Victoria Danielle. That's the THE Victoria Danielle. That's where I'm the strongest. And the event that I have this weekend, I'm not sure if you all are coming out before that or not, but I am having a vision board party this weekend for women who, you want to get clear. You're in a place of transition. You want to make sure that what you're doing for 2020 is focused and you're meeting your purpose. And so I'm there to help you and guide you. And I have the beautiful Danielle Brown of Makeup Craze co-hosting along with me. So she's going to bring the energy. She's a representation of stepping out on faith. She's a representation of doing it despite the fear. And, even if you fail, you can always get back up and move forward. So that is what we are doing this weekend. But I am here to inspire, here to empower, but most importantly, want to give you practical tools to just do it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And welcome back to Jacksonville for the weekend.
Duval.
That's right. Oh, you know what? Listen, Rosa Parks, I think you the first one that said Duval on the show, too.
What?
I think so.
I think so. We got to introduce them to Duval. Yeah. Yes.
Come on.
Well, again, we totally appreciate you. And I hear you're sitting it out on the Petty Word of the Day. You're sitting it out. So, of course, you get...
I could come up with one.
That's all right. You get front row seat to commentate and probably say the thoughts that some of these viewers be saying. So, with that being said, Ms. Glam, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So, we're going into Petty Word. Petty Word, it's where we take this pretty word out the dictionary. We learn it and we study it and we try to put it in pretty sentences. But the twist is it's petty sentences. Notice how I didn't say it pretty because it's petty.
Well, mine is pretty.
Is it pretty today?
It isn't petty today.
Oh, okay.
It
All
isn't.
right. I went a little petty. I was slightly petty. I was trying to be good because we had a really wonderful guest on. So I try to behave when we have guests on the show.
Yeah, I was just being nice because, Frederick was being nice. So I figured I'd be nice to Frederick's wife.
Oh, okay. Wow. Wow. That'd be me. All right, let's go. All right, you up first.
Okay, so my word this week is bonhomie. Bonhomie. And it's a noun, and it means good nature, easy friendliness.
And it's about me?
Yes. So, the bonhomie among Mohazel and myself is vital to my mental health. Everyone should have a Mohazel.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, dear.
Right? So my sentence is in that same premise, but it has a petty twist. Okay, so my word is buoyance. Buoyance. And it's a noun. And it's the quality of being cheerful and full of energy. It's also about me.
I figured because I'm not cheerful.
So my sentence, Miss Glam knows she be hating on me with all this buoyance I bring to the podcast and the events I be hosting.
Really?
You do know you be giving me stank face.
Because I done told you. So we've had this conversation about how in those events you like a big old ball of sun. And I do. I would joke with her and tell her she my sunshine. But in these events, her light shines so bright. And I just can't take it. Like, I can't be in that center of light and all that cheery and bubbliness that she be giving off. So I go find the less cheery people and I hang out with them in their corner.
They have a little corner.
We do.
Every time there's an
run.
event, she and just to give a little disclaimer, she will do anything I ask her to do, and I love it, and that's why I'll do it for her back. But she be having this little committee of hateration in the corner, and they don't hate on me.
Much.
They just be like, oh my gosh, is it extra cheerful in here?
It's just too much. Like, her light is just like, it's all powering, and it's just I can't. It's just no.
You know what I forgot to mention? Well, we said obviously that I know Miss Victoria Danielle from college. UNF swoop life.
See, really? We done told you.
Swoop. First of all, can I just tell you, there's something about the times that we went and there was just cheerful people around. I'm thinking maybe I got it from college because, I mean, everybody I know, we got the cheer in our heart.
It's too much. No, I didn't say.
Maybe we had all that energy because we didn't have a football team. We didn't have it left on the field. We had it carried with us on campus.
No, cheer is fine. Cheer is fine. And your normal bubbliness is fine. I can take that. But when you are in your element and doing your creative projects in front, stage, and center, it's like you turn it on full blast. And it's like those, you know, when you're driving and people have them bright lights and you can't see no more, it's just too much. That's you.
You know what?
It's like a full solar eclipse. Like, oh my God.
Listen, Victoria Danielle, let me tell you something, because I know you are so bright and going to have so much energy when you're doing your events and all that. Don't let your petty friends get you hemmed up in what your purpose is. You shine bright, girl. You do what you got to do because you got a ministry on your heart, and don't let these petty people.
Hey, I'm not saying you can't shine bright. What I'm saying is it's too much to me. I need to go in my corner.
When you have your squad come and support you, just give them a pack of sunglasses and say, go sit in the corner.
Thank you.
I'll call you when I need you.
Thank you. That's all.
Oh my goodness.
It's okay because I'm sure I'll be getting a side eye.
You see? Don't even worry about it. Just know it's coming. Greatness is coming, and so will the side eyes. You know you've made it if a side eye.
Because they're not used to that side. And when you on stage, it's like you just turn it on. You become your alter ego.
Right.
Whatever it is. You just become that person. You can't help it. So I know they're going to be like, what in the what? But hey, it's me.
Yes. Just give them a corner.
Who is Victoria Danielle? I know Victoria.
We're finding our corner. We're finding our corner.
Yeah.
You know, we can venture out, but I can only take so much in the brightness, right in the element. I need to back off in the corner.
But they come back for round 2, 3, 4, 5,
we
and 6.
We do,
so
yeah.
Just know that they'll always be around.
I'm just trying not to melt.
Oh, Lord. Anywho, well, I normally ask Ms. Glam first, but I'll say, Ms. Victoria, do you have anything else to say to the listeners before we go?
You know, thanks for listening to us. Again, we love you, sis.
Oh, they really gonna be extra. We might actually get a comment today because Victoria Danielle is saying, listen, we acknowledge you, we see you, we love you.
We see you. So, you know, this was fun. This was lovely. And you know what? While I'm blazing trails, you guys are blazing trails for me. So we can put you guys in the history books. This is my first podcast as Victoria Danielle. And I did it with you guys, and this was amazing. So now everybody's got to step to the bar with you all. I'm gonna be like, man, this is boring. This is not badass besties. I need you to come with the flavor. What are you doing? This is dry. So.
And you know what? If you would have came in studio, we would have food for you. We would have wine or water for you. We have a little sign where we welcome you. But we appreciate you being our guest on Skype. And so now I toss it to you. Ms. Glam, do you have anything left to say?
Until next time.
And we are out.
Peace.